Welcome to the very first episode of Finance Ke Funded. This is a brand new series curated by I and Vikash, and the concept is very simple. We will talk about ideas, topics, anything that is about personal finance and something that you can relate to. We will try to simplify it as much as possible. So in case you have any question or any topic in mind that you think we can answer, please do drop in your ideas in the comments box. Diwali is just around the corner, and I think there couldn't have been a more auspicious time to start this series. So today we are discussing gold. Gold and Dhanteras go hand in hand. So when we were deciding the topic, we thought, why don't we talk about gold given so much is happening around this asset class?
Yeah, that's right. Dhanteras is always a special occasion where I've seen my parents buy gold from our traditional jeweler, and that has always had an emotional attachment. So my father used to go to the traditional jeweler, and when he came back, he used to hand over that gold to my mother. So this is what I have seen as a growing up.
But because that kind of makes me curious that why gold or silver and not something else?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I was not able to understand why gold was being purchased. But when I read history and when I start understanding what gold brings in, I think that gold has a very long history. Because of its properties, unique properties and scarcity, it has always been in demand. And what I have seen is that gold as an asset class also brings a lot of security to families. So these are some of the unique characteristics because of which gold has always been in demand. And we all know that gold as an asset class does not generate any cash flows. It is a purely demand and supply game, and because of its constant demand by people across the globe, we have seen gold as an appreciating asset. It's slightly different for silver. It was historically used as currency in some places, but yeah, it definitely also has an industrial use. So because of that, we have seen silver also as an asset class generate decent returns. So this is what I understand from my readings about gold and silver.
That's right, Vikas. I think we cannot ignore the role of gold in the global currency systems. I think till the 20th century, there were countries who were using gold as a currency, and their currency was directly linked to the value of gold. So I think rightly said that silver, while it's used for industrial purposes, gold does not have the same kind of use. But because gold had such an important role to play in the global financial system, it is still very, very relevant across families.
Yeah, right. And also, see, what I have seen is that I come from a middle class background. What I've seen is that there were times of personal finance distress where some of family members or someone whom you know, they used gold as a last resort. So that is also how gold has gained its value, because at times of distress it was adding value to families. So gold definitely has helped individuals and has a special place in people's portfolio.
That's right. My mother always used to say that gold is like part of Stree Dhan for a lot of women in Indian families. And I also know a lot of people in our parental generation who have used gold as a source of funds to when they were buying their first property, like 50 years, 60 years, 70 years back. So I think from that perspective, you're right that gold has always been a store of value. And because it's been a store of value, it's been used by a lot of families as a last resort of source of funding.
So this is how I have seen gold as a growing up child. But when I entered the finance world, you always start thinking about investment in terms of returns as well. So being more data oriented, we started seeing the numbers of gold. And when we see gold as an asset class for investment for people who are in emerging markets, like India is an emerging market, we've seen that beside its store of value, beside giving a security at times of distress, it also has a long-term returns of 11.5%. So when we see the CAGR of 11.5% with lower volatility, it definitely gives a use case for personal portfolios as an investment asset class just on the terms of returns that it has generated. So when I have been following gold in the last 10-15 years, I've seen that the long-term returns are decent and good enough to make a part in the investment portfolios of clients.
Right. And what I have also realized is that gold is not just a traditional investment in India. For a lot of portfolios. It's a good diversification bet that people want to take. And a lot of times we, early in our financial years, we used to debate that why should one invest in gold. The idea is, especially for emerging markets, like you said, in cases when there is political instability or economic instability, which kind of takes the currency prices in a crisis situation. I think gold really helps to hedge the portfolio. Gold prices shoot up during those times, and that's when gold becomes a very, very relevant asset class in the portfolio.
Yeah. So see, and this can also, you're absolutely right in your assessment of gold as a hedge against economic uncertainty, and this can also be seen across various economic cycles. Like during COVID, we see when the equity markets were down by 30%, gold was up around 19% to be precise. So we have seen that happen during times of economic uncertainty. Similar thing happened during 2008 and even during 99-2000 when there was an Asian financial crisis. So what we have seen is that gold has delivered good returns and also acts as a hedge for equity investors like us. So for equity investors like us, it has like benefits of two kinds. One is returns, another is a hedge. So that makes even a better case for gold. Also, I like to add one more thing, that in India we have not seen a very, very big foreign exchange kind of scenario where our currency is getting depreciated a lot against US dollars. But if you see other emerging markets like Turkey, even Thailand, they have seen where the currency depreciated a lot. In those times, gold was even a better investment for these guys. So for India, I would say that we are fortunate that our equity markets are delivering better returns, our currency is stable, but still gold has delivered good returns.
Yes, you're right. India does stand out as an exception. We've had a phenomenal equity run, and our currency has also been stable. And I think India, the central bank, every important party has handled the situation very smartly. And in addition, gold hasn't done too badly for Indians as well. So gold, of course, is a very it's a common talking point amongst Indian investors. But what I also feel is that gold is not that exciting an asset class globally, right? Because global gold prices are influenced by demand and supply factors, what central banks are doing across the countries, and so on. Whereas in India, the price of gold is massively influenced by the duties that are put on it. So if global gold prices are at X, Indian price is higher because of the duties, right? And I think that is what has also contributed in higher returns for gold.
Yeah, so the government introduced import duty on gold, which has kept Indian gold prices higher than the global prices. What I like to emphasize about gold for Indian investors is that we feel that there is no risk on gold, but we saw that risk play out 3 months back when the duty on gold was cut, and we saw a one-day fall of 9% on gold, right? If you think about a 9% fall on the Nifty, everybody gets very jittery and they create a panic kind of situation, but there was a 9% fall. As we stand today, the gold import duty still stands at 6%, and if the government wants, it can any day remove that 6% import duty, and you will see the Indian gold prices fall. So these are some of the risks that you should be aware about investing in gold in India, but still the long-term gold returns are decent enough for you to allocate some money.
On the 9% fall that you just mentioned about, I remember, and I think gold is back to 76, 77 as we speak. And, in contrasting that human behavior to how people react for equity, I remember 4th June when equity markets crashed, there was a lot of panic amongst people, and, people are wondering if they should, some of them were wondering at least if they should exit positions. But when it was 9% fall in gold, nobody was panicking and selling off their gold thinking that there'll be more duty cuts, right? I think there were people who were just going and buying gold, including people in my family. So I think that's human behavior for you, how we react to equity volatility and how we react to some structural price differences when it comes to gold. So the big question with us is that how does an investor think about investing in gold, right? Given that there's a certain way in which we behave with different asset classes. Can gold be a core part of your portfolio, or should it be a smaller part of your portfolio? My view is that everyone should look at any form of investment from an asset allocation perspective. What's your view on this?
Yeah, so see, like I earlier said, it's not about gold versus equity, but I think it's about gold plus equity. So I personally believe that gold forms a part of your portfolio, and it should not only be a very, very small part of your portfolio. So the allocation also has to be slightly meaningful, so that on the overall portfolio level, you can see some volatility drop in times of uncertainty. Now, the exact allocation will definitely depend upon individual risk preferences, his goals, but a decent allocation to gold helps you generate inflation beating returns, plus also helps to cushion your equity investment in times of economic uncertainty. So, an individual should obviously consult his or her advisor to understand what should be the proper asset allocation, but these are the cues he can take from what I think of.
Right. So to summarize, both equity and gold do have a place in the portfolio. One needs to, just have a view on what kind of allocation do they need to build into equity and gold. But because people often ask me that in what form should they invest in gold. A couple of my clients, and this is something I learned from them. What they do is they have some form of a gold SIP with their local jewelers, where they invest. They invest a fixed amount every month with the jeweler for 11 months, and in the 12th month they are able to utilize that entire amount depending on the prevailing rate of gold and buy some jewelry from the jeweler. I think it's a win-win situation for both. It's like a gold SIP. It's a new thing for me, but what are the forms in which you have previously invested in gold, or anybody like us, investors can invest in gold?
Yeah, so Shruti, so I have also heard about something like this, but I have never done that. But what I predominantly see is that there are 4-5 ways through which you can take gold exposure. One we all know is physical gold. Another one is gold ETF. Gold ETF, you have to buy it from the exchange, so you should have a demat account. When you invest in a gold index fund, you can bypass that demat account requirement, and you can invest just in a mutual funds and take gold exposure. There are some startups who offer digital gold, so you can do smaller tranches. Over there you have to be a little careful, because if you're doing bigger amount, there's GST implication and there are transaction costs. So if you are doing again and again, you should be wary about digital gold. One of the best forms was sovereign gold bond, but I think this has gone expensive for the government. So when we think about government offering you SGBs, they are actually borrowing money from you, and if suppose they are borrowing money, and if they are borrowing money from an asset class which is generated 11% CAGR for investors, on top of that they were giving 2.5%. So the borrowing cost for government on SGBs was around 13.5%, whereas G-Secs are giving 6.5-7%. So this became an expensive route for the government, and I think the government had learned it the hard way, and there is no announcement of any SGB this year. Because the first redemption of SGP happened this year, and there was this lesson that this is an expensive thing. So presently, I feel that gold ETFs and gold index funds are good if you want to do a financial kind of investment. Physical gold, it's individual's choice, because it will always have some risk, because the position makes you the owner of the asset. So you have to be very careful on those aspects. But these are some of the ways which I can think of.
This Dhanteras, are you buying gold, Vikas?
Yeah, so as a tradition, I have been doing this for the last many years, that my family members, we visit a traditional jeweler in the evening of Dhanteras. The shops are crowded with everybody buying jewelry, and we are part of that celebration. And we tend to buy something, whatever. If suppose there's something which my mom or my wife, she wants you to buy that, or we buy a simple gold coin. So that, I think, that continues.
Right. If you ask me, so I have always grown up, watching my parents buy something that is, that they feel they require for the house. It could be a decor item, or it could be a piece of jewelry, or things like gold coins, etc. But for me, if you ask, I think I've completely broken that stereotype. I don't buy any gold on Dhanteras. I in fact increase my SIPs. So that's something that I've been doing over the last few years on Dhanteras, and I think I would be continuing the same this year as well. So as we approach Dhanteras, many of our viewers would be planning their gold purchases. Our suggestion would be that be mindful of the kind of allocation that you are building. Gold may not be the core of your portfolio. Also, do evaluate whether physical gold makes sense for you. If not, do do look at gold ETFs, gold index funds as a very consistent way of building gold allocation. So I hope this was useful for our viewers, and if you think that you have any topics that we can address, please, like I said, do drop in your ideas in the comments box. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for our next episode.